Today I'm going to show you how to make these cute little earrings. You will need metal wire. I'm using 0.9 or 0.8 millimeters, but I also like to use 1.0 millimeters. We have these 8 millimeter round beads. Our side cutters, flat nose pliers and or round nose pliers, some sort of cylindrical tool. I'm using a pen. As to the tools that are optional but highly recommended, that will be these pliers that are half round. So there's a flat side and there's a rounded side here. But you could use round nose pliers as well. Nylon tipped pliers are great for straightening out the wire. Then also a couple of files. I would highly recommend using these to make the earrings comfortable to wear. And last but not least, an anvil. I have a metal hammer and I have a plastic hammer to harden the metal. First, I will take the wire and then straighten out the last 10 centimeters or so. I sometimes use the nylon pliers to do it. And then we will bend the last couple of centimeters, let's see how many, about 6 or 7 centimeters, like so that you get a straight angle here. Now we can put on the bead like this. We're going to take this piece of the wire and bend it around once and a half time. So I'm going to do that. It can be a bit fiddly, especially if your wire is either very soft or very stiff. But bend it around once, so once. And now I'm going to the front, so we're overlapping it to the front, not to the back. So like this. So now you see we have overlapped it nicely. At the back side you can see where the wire goes through the hole, but from the front you cannot see it because we have this nice frame of the wire that goes around. From one side we have 2 wires and we want to have these wires as close to each other as possible. They will tend to go apart when we do the next step, so just try to hold them down during the next phase where we finish it off by wrapping this bit around this part of the wire. So, and keep pushing these 2 bits of wire here together so they stay together. And now I have wrapped it around once and twice. So it looks like this. So you have here this, this double wrap. And now the wire is secured, the bead is secured, and now we can clip off this bit of wire here and snip it off at the back using the side cutters. And just file off some of the sharp bits that were created by the side cutters. Will look better that way. There you have it. This is the general shape of the wire wrapped bead. We're going to shape the ear wire out of this bit of wire we have here. Take a round nose plier or a flat nose plier and then tilt the wire to the front like this. And then you will take your pen or your mandrel and push it against this and then use this to shape the rest of the wire around. So I will push it here to the base of where the metal has been bent and then use my finger to shape this around. You can be fiddly here, you can reshape it. I feel like it needs to be a bit more to that side, so I will take the pen and then just shape it a bit differently to suit my taste. Now we have this. Check if it's straight from the front. You can use your fingers or your flat nose pliers to manipulate the shape a bit. And I think this looks fine. Halfway the bead, I will clip it off like that. And now I will use my handy dandy half round nose pliers and grab the edge of this wire and turn it upward a bit like that. But this end, since you've used the side cutters to cut it off, it will be sharp, it will have a point, and you don't want to put that into your earlobe. We're going to file it off a bit like that. Okay, so now the earrings are done, at least almost done, because we are going to be perfectionists and we're going to do a couple of finishing steps. Firstly, it may well be that the back side of the wrap shows from the front, as you can see here, that it protrudes a bit. And then, well, what I would do to combat that, to lessen that, is file off a bit of the back part of the wrap. And just make sure that you don't damage any of the front part of the wrap. You want to keep whatever's in the front of the bead, at the front side of this piece, you want to keep it intact. But the back side you can file off a bit to make it less visible. And you can take a couple of minutes to file this down until you're happy with the shape. Well, we just bent this into these shapes, but it's very easy to get it unbent again. And we don't want that to happen. We want these earrings to be sturdy. We can stiffen up the wire, for example, by hitting it with a hammer over and over. And the great thing about the plastic hammer is that it will not change the shape of the wire itself. It will only stiffen it more. So then I have this anvil here for me to use, and I will make sure that I won't put my earring from the side of one of these sharp edges because it will leave a mark. But my anvil has this here slightly rounded edge, and I will use that to put my ear hook on. And then I will tap my hammer alongside all of the wire and do it like a lot and do it all over to firm up that wire. And I would do this for a couple of minutes at least, and maybe use some more force than I'm doing to demonstrate right now. Secondly, I almost always want to use this hammer as well. And I tend to flatten ear wires here at the back curve because I find it looks very professional and very artsy like that. And a bit here at the front as well. Make sure that your hammer doesn't have very sharp edges, but has rounded off edges like my hammer here. Otherwise you will end up with a lot of ugly dents. Flip it over and do it from the other side. I think that looks really neat. I don't think you can tell on this video, but it has stiffened up quite a bit already from these couple of seconds of hitting it with a hammer. And it will become even more sturdy if you do it for a longer time. Now it is finished. I have only made one, but for earrings, of course, you will need two. And if I make two earrings, I make both of them sort of at the same time. So I do the first step with one earring and then stop the process and then do the same step for the other earring and make sure that they are in mirror image. So if I wrap this one around like this, I will make sure to wrap the other one the other way. Now let me show you some variations you could make with these techniques that you used. So you could, for example, use differently shaped or sized beads, but I think the most fun thing to change up is the shape of the ear wire. And here I have a couple of examples of types of ear wire shapes that you could use. Over here we have a wire that has been shaped in the same way as this one, but it was made with a very thick mandrel. So it ended up very round. It's almost like an ear hoop. You could also make very straight ear wire like this. And by making it very long like this, it will mean that the bead hangs down from the earlobe more. Here is a very similar length ear wire, but it's completely different because the bead is very close to the ear lobe, but the ear wire extends past the bead. So when you wear it, you will see a stick, sort of a stick coming out from under your earlobe. I think that looks really nice. This one has a differently shaped bead as well. It's more a flat bead, not as much a round bead. And it's a similar design idea, only the shape is a bit different. So here I used a smaller bead and then used a different wire wrapping technique to attach 2 other beads on top. And then I thought it was nice to do like a long ear wire to match the shape of this earring. You could also use this technique to make a head pin, like this one. You have this, and then you can string other things on top and then loop it off and dangle it down a different, maybe a store-bought ear wire. You can see that this part can dangle freely, and I think that makes for a very nice earring as well.